presentation, and we've reached the part of the program where you can get your questions answered by our distinguished panel that joins us today. Now, we've been inundated with so many people who have indeed written to us in the Q&A section. So do keep those questions coming in. We'll attempt to get through as many as we can. So let's try and get through them as we can. We've also got a number of questions that came through a little bit earlier as well. So let's begin with some that came through in the registration. And we've been asked, firstly, this question to Mr. He, can we get a waiver for medical check as part of the documentation for new applications during the pandemic period? Mr. He, that's a question for you.
Hi, because for medical checkup is a requirement for all those applicants who are under 60 years of age, all right? But we need the medical checkup to be done in a local government hospital. That is our requirement at present. Tina, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Mr. He, in terms of overall living security, kindly share what the state has already put in place.
Hi, Kuching, I think you can confirm with Sam. He has been walking along the streets at any time of the day. There'll be no problem. And we have the police around, of course. And I think that you feel safe when you walk around in the streets of Kuching, especially Kuching waterfront and eateries and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know, good to know. Dominic, can I ask, out of so many benefits that you have just shared, could you give us one reason why we should choose Sarawak as our second home compared to, say, Sabah or West Malaysia? A great question from one of our members and guests today.
Okay, I think Sarawak, in a sense, is blessed with a unique habitat that may be similar to Sabah, but I think Sarawak is blessed in the sense that Sarawak is more than just a tourist attraction. So in Sarawak, you can enjoy the tranquil and the peaceful way of living, which I think in Sabah, which is do not have this peaceful, I mean, not as peaceful style of living because, okay, sorry. The another reason is Sarawak have great connections to educations. In Sarawak, you have a lot of educations, like Sam has shared just now. You can, your children can come here and study and connect to other places for further education and so on. And another thing in Sarawak is that you have similar culture and languages where you, the listeners, where you may be from. So here you can enjoy this similar culture and so on and this thing. And Sarawak is very affordable. Thank you.
And Mr. He, we've got another question that comes to you. How many applications of S-MM2H has the ministry received this year? And can you tell us a bit about the nationalities?
This year we have received 5. Actually, more are coming. Even though during this pandemic, I think there are some expatriates from West Malaysia coming in to apply. So countries include, if I remember correctly, Japan, one from Switzerland, some from China.
Okay, that's great to know. And what banks can we use to place our deposits? Another great question from one of our audience members and participants today.
Yeah, for S-MM2H, for Sarawak, we require all the bank accounts for fixed deposit to be opened up in a local bank in Sarawak. And also the agents you use, it must be agents registered with the Sarawak MOTEC. Right? And we want to welcome you to come to Sarawak. Okay, so you can go to West Malaysia and Sabah for holidays without a hassle. But we love you to come to Sarawak to stay for 15 days, at least a year.
Mr. He, a lot of people have been asking, on average, how long does it take to approve an application for one of these visas?
Yeah, in our reply to acknowledgement letters to all applications, we say that your application will be approved within 90 days. But we assure you that we are trying our best to get it approved as soon as possible. As I said, one thing that we need to comply is the security check. We need to send all the way to Kuala Lumpur for your security check. All right. So that's what delays things a bit, but rest assured we are trying our best. But our promise now is 90 days.
And do you have any guidelines that people can access to be able to get more information?
Yeah, you can download all the guidelines and application forms from our ministry's website, which is mtac.sarawak.gov.my. mtac.sarawak.gov.my. You can download all the forms, all the guidelines from there.
Okay, that's great. Putri, a couple of questions have come through for you too. Someone has asked, could you please suggest some attractions that we could experience for both short-term trips and long-term trips whilst in Sarawak? Putri.
Definitely, Tina. Okay, definitely the list is too long, but I shall share with all of you my personal favorite. Cebu Central Market, Mulu Caves, Bako National Park, Senyawa Night Market, definitely the Brooks Gallery, and Sarawak Cultural Village. These are the must-go places, according to my list. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. I've been madly writing that down myself, Putri, because I can't wait to get back there. So I'll make sure that they're on my list as well. Dominic, what is the average price for Kuching property? That's what a few people are asking us this afternoon.
There are different average price for condominiums and landed properties, but for a price tag of around 500,000, you can get a very good condominiums in Kuching with 2 or 3 bedrooms, some even 4 bedrooms. And for price tag of 600,000 and more, you can get decent landed properties in Kuching. Our price is very competitive.
And Dominic, is regional property outside the capital, Kuching, cheaper or very much the same? What can you tell us about that?
Okay, for regional centers outside Kuching, the properties can be relatively cheaper. It can be cheaper by 20%, some even 30%. Of course, that depends on the exact location of the properties you are going for.
Okay, that's good to know. We have a question too for Sam. Now, Sam, it's very interesting because we have a lot of people with Singapore experience and they say Singapore education is really top notch. So why did you bring your son to Kuching for his secondary education?
Well, I think like Tina, you know, my son came from Singapore at secondary 2. And then I joined law school here in international school here in Kuching, and he completed his international GCE O-level, which is the parent company or subsidiary. I mean, the Singapore GCE O-level is a subsidiary of international GCE O-level from UK. And also he can see that he's here for 2 years of study, and then he back to Singapore. He can continue his study from there. And all my 3 kids did a few years of study in Singapore and did very well further education in Singapore. Some of my son's classmates is also studying in NUS Singapore from law school. So it's very compatible. But with one thing, they got their own childhood days of enjoyment with a very good education system. So furthermore, I mean, like anything more than that, please write to me and I can explain a bit more.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Sam. Absolutely. Very last question for you, Sam. Do you think you will ever move to Sarawak permanently when you retire? I'm interested.
I'm going to continue my S-MM2H program again and again, because this program allows me to fly back and forth. So it's like living and enjoying the life and the lifestyle in Kuching, but I can meet my relative anytime other than the COVID-19. I can just fly there, like I described. One day I can finish activities in 2 countries and sleep back in my Kuching condo.
Absolutely wonderful. The best of both worlds. Last few minutes, we've got 2 more minutes to go. We've got lots of questions. Are there any plans to improve on the international air connectivity into Sarawak? Perhaps Mr. He, could you answer that question?
Sorry, again?
It was about, are there any plans to improve on the international air connectivity into Sarawak?
Yeah, actually, Sarawak government is working on some direct air linkage with China, especially Shenzhen, and also Indonesia. But due to this pandemic, we have stopped flights from Brunei and also Pontianak, which was assisting before that. But we still maintain our weekly flight through Scoot airline with Singapore at this moment. But rest assured, when it is open, we will make sure that we work hard on our air connectivities direct to Kuching.
Okay, fantastic. Very briefly too, Mr. He, do you provide support letters to enable special pass applications in order to travel to Sarawak?
Not at this moment because of the situation, but we will try to look into that in the near future. But because of this pandemic, we are, the country as a whole, as a policy, we are not allowing foreigners to come in at this moment.
Okay, good to know. Also, those above 60 years of age do not need to have a medical check. Is that the case?
Yes, because they will be very difficult to buy a medical insurance if you're above 60 years old. So we waive that requirement.
Okay, fantastic. That's great to know. Can I just say thank you so much to our very, very high esteemed panel who've done a wonderful job, not only at giving their presentations, but their